If you feel stuck with your agency, this video is perfect for you because I'm going to basically strategize my own agency going from $200K per year to, of course, ideally $1 million per year. So I currently make about 150 to 200K per year. Obviously, I'm still a new agency owner, and of course, I'm new to the game, so you can't really count the numbers too much. But in the past 6 months or so, I've consistently hit between 12 to 17K per month. So in short, kind of a quick walkthrough on who I am. I'm the founder of FlowClick. I basically help creative and marketing agencies scale, and those agencies are doing somewhere between 50K to 10M per year. So I've been feeling a bit stuck lately with my progress, hence why I'm recording this video, and I'm going to put down my live thought process on how I plan to approach essentially $1 million per year, which I think would be the end goal here, or like the next big milestone. And I don't want to think too long ahead. I don't think that's the game, but the game is kind of to get myself unstuck by just doing some math and I guess make me feel more motivated to get on the path again. And of course I still feel motivated, but the main goal here is to have like a strategy session live, and it's currently 11 p.m. on I'm not sure if you can see, on a Friday, and I'm kind of bored, so why not record something? I don't post here often. So in short, the main current problem I have, so if I just put down here, I'm just going to write main problem is obviously number one, stuck at 15K per month. And some of you might think, wow, this is big, you're doing great. And of course, for my age, I do feel kind of accomplished, but to a degree, I don't want to be too comfortable in this range because I do think that this range is the range that people get too stuck, mainly because the life you're living when you're making 2 or 3K per month compared to making 15K per month is definitely different. And a lot of people do kind of, hey, I'm going to start spending more money. I'm one of those people. But overall, I think that it's an easy way to kind of feel comfortable because you're making enough to make a big change in your life. And money past beyond that will get you, of course, nicer cars, boats, houses, those kinds of things. But like realistically, for most things like food, daily activities, gym memberships, those things are no longer a problem. So I kind of want to give my thought process on how I do plan to break this 50K per month mark and just overall everything. And this will be quite long, quite boring to watch. So if you don't have the attention span for it, click off. The goal here is not to make you watch it or just like be too engaged. The goal here is to get like actual real thoughts behind the scenes on how I actually think as a 15K per month agency, which technically isn't a lot. But yeah, so the main problem why I have been stuck with this number currently, being completely honest, and I did some self-reflection about this, is because the main reason is honestly, well, I'm writing like client retention. Be honest, that's my main problem currently. Clients are leaving, they aren't staying for that long, and not necessarily because I do a bad job, but more, maybe to a degree, but more because my funnel isn't optimized for long-term work. So as soon as I finish a project, I just don't have that natural next step to progress. And the reason I'm saying this is because essentially my current funnel here, if I can write down my funnel, it will be okay. My, at least I guess, top of funnel would be like this main branch, which I have here, which is my biggest pool, I guess, is, okay, this looks horrible. Maybe further like this pie here. I would say that basically majority of my work in here at the moment, this revenue, for the most part, for new clients, comes from one-time projects, okay? Which is quite normal in my space. Obviously, you do like AI builds, and you do the initial build of, hey, let's say they need help with a lead retention system, which is, I guess, ironic. Let's say they need help with a project management system. That's a big thing I do. I build a big system for 3, 4, 5, 6K. And once that is done, I've tried upselling retainers, but truly I hadn't much success with it. And I think it's because my retainers are too vague. I just say like, hey, we do this retainer, and the main problem here is just client retention. I just don't have that next step when someone initially goes to the funnel. And the reason why they also say no, for like, just like based on, so this red part I would say is the retainers, which I do pay me a fair amount, but mainly I have lost so many clients because of one-time projects rather than retainers. So like the ratio is completely off. And let's say that this is retainers. So essentially my problem, and I know that other people struggle with this as well, is that for big builds, especially, okay, let's imagine, let's actually draw out a timeline here. I hope you don't mind. So let's say we have a timeline here of a client. And this timeline here, this one, is the client lifespan cycle, CLC. If that's a real kind of name, not sure. So we have kind of these small milestones. So here we have a milestone, here we have a milestone, here, 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 here. And the reason why I'm drawing it like this is because initially when a project kicks off here, so project kickoff is this. This is still excitement because they've just purchased the project, while this is lower excitement. This is starting to, hopefully this can be removed. This is finishing. So if I can just right here, I keep pressing the wrong button, that's why. In short, this part of the build is finish up, FU, and then, okay, let me purchase this. So essentially here is that there's too big of a gap between the first phase here. So let's say that this phase here, during like the initial handoff and the upsell, there's too much time. And I just purchased, after purchasing this product, finally, this drawing tool, either way. So there's too much of a gap here between like the initial phase and then actually upselling something. And the reason I have a problem with retention is because clients just don't see the value sometimes in the things I'm selling. Not always. And I'm losing so many clients at this point, like so many clients, but like I'm losing so many clients or potential clients because I don't have a standardized system for a long-term follow-up. So the thing I'm kind of trying to say here is that something I've noticed is that I lose too many clients because projects get delayed, clients go on vacation, let's say I go away, something happens. There are so many reasons where I just lose a client because delays, being honest, that's the main part. So I have to find a system where I can manage to somehow retain them for longer and have like, they're always on top because I've had this close relationship during the project, because usually, let me tell you how it works, just like I did here. So usually the main problem here is that clients initially are here super excited. Then down here, it takes too much time, so they just lose interest. And I've noticed that I'm trying to do handoffs, and the main reason or the main problem I've currently seen is that clients usually don't end up using the system to the full extent and therefore not seeing the value. This is not always the case. I'm talking about like a 50-50 split. Some clients go all in, they use the system, they love it. Some clients don't, just don't use the system. And I'm mainly talking about like project management systems and so on, because adoption I do have a problem with. And I think I have a problem with adoption is because there's too much friction starting to use my tool. And that's definitely a major part here, that breaking habits is such a hard thing to do in the first place. Then having to change a tool like a project management system can be very hard for people. And that's a main bottleneck I currently have overall when it comes to my business. It's just client retention. And this number here from the 15K per month, honestly, most of it comes from just like selling new clients and new projects, which is kind of the main strategy. So how do I change this and how do I improve it? Which is kind of the reason I even recorded this video in the first place. Well, if my two main problems are, if I write down my two main problems, which are, if I do here, my two main problems are, of course, first one being client retention. The second one also being client, I think the word would be adoption. I guess, yeah, client adoption. These are one of the biggest things that currently stop me from scaling, mainly because clients just don't adopt the system, and also to a degree that they just don't have the retention once the system is done. So it just takes too long for me to fulfill a system because of delays. And the reason I'm currently talking about this is because usually it comes from project management systems. For the most part, I did focus on that in the past couple of 6 months or so. Like ClickUp systems, Monday systems, and so on. And, well, how do I change this? I think two major parts come from, I'm going to create none or no negotiable, and let's write this here, no negotiable rules. These are things I can't break, okay? And so what will these things be? Well, NER, non-negotiable rules would be, okay, this I have to do, 3x, so many pop-ups, 3x follow-up per week. That could be a major one. I definitely think. Second thing would be, if information is needed, update them daily. If info needed, update. And the reason why this is so important is because, okay, we sign a project here. We have signed it, right? We have plenty of cash. I do progress, cash keeps going. And here in the middle, I need something from client. Okay? Then 1 to 2 weeks delay. Wow, my text. And I do have to write a bit more clear. So the reason why I'm like saying 1 to 2 weeks delay is because I maybe, let's say in this case, send a follow-up. In this case, day 1, 4, 8, 14. I would say these would be like my general follow-up. This is too long apart because when I say something one day, they have a higher chance of forgetting it the next day. So I have to have a better process of faster follow-ups. And when I'm asking for something, I need to get it as fast as. And of course, in the first place, we would even solve it here in this phase of like the kickoff call where I can, okay, we have the kickoff call. I manage to get the information from the client. I had done the mistake in the past, especially in the beginning, where I just like kicked off. I didn't gather all the information I need because I didn't scope it properly. So when I was waiting for something, it just took a while. But a thing here when it comes to needing something from client, sometimes that can be just actual feedback. So not something I've missed, not something I've done wrong, not something the client has done wrong. Sometimes you just need their thoughts. Hey, give a green flag, give a red flag, let me know. That's it. And especially when you talk with businesses that are a bit more busy, most people, or like with the owner, not essentially business, but like if you talk with the CEO and founder, owner, those people, like the top people that own the business, they are quite busy, so they don't have the time to answer. But if you're talking with like a CSM, project manager, operational manager, those people have more time, so you can just don't allocate as much time with this. When we're talking with the founders, there's a high chance of them not responding. And it doesn't mean that they don't take you seriously. It doesn't mean that they're not interested. They're just busy. And this is kind of a main bottleneck, which I'm starting to realize now when recording this video, is that there's just too much of the process here is just too delayed for me to keep their attention. And the reason for that is also my fault, because I'm just not pushing enough for them to understand that we have to get this done to get to the next phase. Like when you're launching ads for a client, let's say, and you say, we have to get these ads approved or like we have to get these offers in to start writing the copyright. That essentially is, so the reason why I'm bringing this up is because you have to be maybe a bit more like, hey, when I send something through, I give them update once per day, and like that's just the way it is, because we have to get moving with this project. Because if you don't, I'm going to fall in the trap of 1 or 2 weeks delay, and we end up going nowhere. So I think more structured communication will help me a ton here, just with client retention. And then since this is solved, so what happens when this thing is solved? Well, it's going to create a new problem. And that's the, in this case, it's the upsell problem. I think I have noticed something which I've seen work better than others. So I just saw this from my mentor, which is Nick Sararev, and there are 2 paths here, okay, as an agency. There are 2 paths here. Either, well, technically there are 3 paths. If you just take like an extra path, which is kind of as well. So there's 3 paths. Obviously, the top path being the retainer. And here we're talking about $1,000 to $4K per month. Middle ground is maintenance. So maintenance is just like updates, bug fixes, requests, and so on. It's always going to be under $1K. That's for sure. That's the oversign, which is great. Obviously, the other way around, it's always going to be under $1K. And then this phase is just fixed price, downsell. And this is a framework from essentially everyone, but I found it through, or I guess the main person who talked about it was Hermosi. So if they don't want the first option, you give them other options, because it shouldn't be like, hey, you either pay retainer or pay nothing. That's the mistake that has lost me well over, I can admit, like maybe 50K in lifetime value for clients currently. Because I have done retainer or nothing. And even though I have packages for my retainers or so on, if there are still retainers, I think I'll be much better off implementing something better and more streamlined once I had the action. So now, just think on top of my head on the things I can do now is I'm going to keep selling fixed price projects and keep doing maintenance, but also mixing retainers whenever it makes sense for clients, mainly because I do think it shouldn't be either or, because that's why they did, like initially my clients were like either or, so either, you know, we do this, but also another thing which I have never done before, which I don't know why, but I just never did. This is also a issue which have lost me a lot of money. And that's the main problem is not selling maintenance up front. Okay, so I never did this, like never in my career. Not sure why, but last month in March, I started doing it. So I think I accumulated over like 2 deals, and it was a total of 8K in ARR, so annual recurring revenue, just by implementing 2 small maintenance retainers. And I've never done this before. And also a major thing why I think that this just started, like, I'm very thankful I recorded this video because it's starting to make me realize things I have forgotten about. And if you're still here, it blew my mind. Okay, so this alone gave me 8K ARR. But also one of the things that maintenance build does, this one, is it keeps client comms, major one, and also open doors for long-term work. And if I can charge lower maintenance, that means I'm still going to have some contact with the client because I still own kind of the maintenance and do stuff like that. And the major part is if I do the maintenance, I can also upsell more systems, because out of the reasons why I lost clients is because essentially, like, they just slowly went away. I did a project, we had less and less communication, and once it's done, I did a retainer or just nothing. That was a lot of the times I just did nothing. And yeah, I think a major part comes down to having regular clients. Truly, I think it's a big, so that's something I'm going to think about and just implement, just have, okay, I'm going to do more follow-ups, see if there's more interest, because people are busy, people forget, and I don't blame them for it. So That's definitely something major which I have to do, because people do forget a lot of times. So I'm going to do more follow-ups. I'm going to have the maintenance, because I can very easily stack ARR. So if I just do some backend math here, like my long-term goal and like the coolest goal ever would be obviously kind of to finish this video off, is to have the 1 million R. And I think that's about 80K, 83K per month. Let me just check with my calculator the exact number. If I'm going to earn 1 million per year times 12, 83K per month, that's correct. Perfect, I'm good at math. That means I have to hit 83, that means I have to hit 83K per month, which is a significant amount for sure. However, if I'm already doing about, well, I can't count my technical, can I? I can. Let's say I'm doing currently, for the math of it, let's say I'm doing 30K per month, which isn't too off. 30K per month, that means I have 70 more K to go. And if, let's say by the end of the year, I have about 8 months left, 8 months, I have to grow by, so if I hit like 83K per month at the end of the year, I'm going to be blown away. That's like a very big goal. Still realistic if I just do some math. If I do 70K in 8 months, I have to grow by about 8.75K per month. And if I have, assuming I'm doing a zero churn here, which for the math of it, let's just do zero. I have to grow by 8K per month. So this month, realistically, I have, it's going to be 21K, which I think is very reasonable. 21K. This month I have to hit 1K. It's basically 22K, but let's say 21K. And then I have to hit 30K, and eventually just hit like 38K, etc. Right? And this isn't like, if you look at the numbers, we're talking about 2 extra retainers per month, okay? But realistically, it's going to be 4 retainers. I don't think I can sell 4K retainers like currently. Maybe I can. 4 retainers or 2 retainers. Either we do like 2K a pop, or we do 4K a pop. And okay, if I do some backend math, if I send 1,000 emails per day times 30, okay, so times 28. If I send 20, currently I'm doing cold emails acquisition channel. And for the most part, I do some other stuff as well. So if I do some backend math, if I send 26K emails per year or per month, and let's say I have a very low reply rate, positive reply rate maybe, let's count very low. Let's say we have a very low though. Okay, let's count low, just out of curiosity. If I get 1 opportunity, okay, this is really, okay. So if I get 26 opportunities per month, 1 per 1,000 email, that's very realistic. Very realistic. I'm talking low. Okay, so if I'm doing 26 opportunities, let's say realistically I get on calls with 75. Okay, so it's about, so if I lose, if it's 26, I lose, let's say 25% of them, 20%. Let's say I have 18 calls, and essentially I have to close out of those people either 4. So let's divide it by, or let's say I have, okay, I essentially have to have in short 25. All I'm saying, after 30 minutes of absolute yap and like just brainstorming, this is 100% achievable. And this is why I love doing backend math, like just to think about what is attainable. Because if you think about the numbers realistically, 26 opportunities over 20,006 or 20K, like, that's very realistic. I've been sending Colimi for a while, and I do it for some clients. So that's very, very realistic, 100%. I'm still doing those numbers today. Calls, 18, fair amount of calls, but possible. I essentially need to get about 15 calls per month every other day, 25% close rate, close to 3-4 days per month, and I'm there. And I have that growth to hit. And the systems I'm planning to build here, if you haven't seen my last video, I can open my tab here. I'm building basically performance dashboards currently. I've seen like massive demand for this. Go to settings API. So in short, I'm building like dashboards, and for this tab, track performance. That's kind of the main goal here. So if I can, of course, showcase something like this, Performance dashboards can also look another way. Hopefully I showcase another example as well. Maybe I don't. I can see it. Okay, anyway. So, yeah, that's very interesting. So, and the things I'm selling for, let's say 2K per month, which I think are realistic, that's per month. Churn, I doubt will be anything, mainly because if I think about the costs, if I count 5M per year, and they're paying about 40K per month, 35. Yeah, that's right. Let's count high, 48K for significant amount. Maybe that's too much. Realistically, it's 20K per year. 2K a month it's decent. And for an reporting software, a bit more than that. Then that would be of the revenue. Obviously, if we don't count double profit here, if they're doing 5 million and they're doing 20, yeah, that's basically nothing for them. So yeah, I think that's super realistic because the performance dashboard I'm building, I highly doubt people will churn that much, mainly because a system that when you have it, you can't. So yeah, that's great. So yeah, if that's my thought process on how I plan to scale my company to 1 million per year, and doing some backend math. I hope you're with me here currently. With a lot of drawings, notes, and a bunch of shit, being honest. But like, hope you're with me here with, okay, main problem I'm stuck with this. If I just keep doing more type of funnel, I basically implement some better retention systems. But like, even if I don't implement this, then if you just look about the numbers here and like the things I'm trying to achieve, super doable, very, very doable. Especially with the growth I've seen recently and my career performance, I am very confident this is possible to hit. I'm 100% sure. So yeah, I hope you appreciate the 34 minutes of unedited, raw, thought process content. I'll post on the channel often. I'm currently in Phuket, Thailand. I figure it's 12 p.m. on a Friday. Why not do some brainstorming because I'm bored? And yeah, that's the main point. So if you're still here, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed my thought process, currently how I think and what my main goal is. So even though these numbers means, okay, technically I have to like 1.5x my revenue. If you think about like specific numbers, okay, going from 15K to 21K isn't that significant. But if you think about, okay, that's like 1.3x, 1.4x, 1.5x per month, obviously it seems more. So yeah, I think it's definitely doable. I think the growth rate or like the current stats I'm pulling, I don't see a reason why it's not to. So I'm going to double down on cold email, keep doing this. The math, it's saying itself. I just have to sell these systems, and yeah, I think it's definitely achievable. So yeah, plan is to double down, plan is to do this, which I just wrote about. And yeah, as said, I hope you appreciated the video. And if anyone is still watching this, respect. The main goal is just to give my thought process and kind of, so yeah, I hope you appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful day and enjoy your weekend or weekday, whatever and whenever you're watching. So thank you, and on to the next, see something specific. Let me know down below. This is a totally shit posting channel. I don't care anything about how high quality or how good it is. The main goal here is just to give my thought process, keep it real and be brutally honest with you, and like no fluff whatsoever. So yeah. Let me know if you want to see anything specific, and that's about it. Thank you.